All right. So, welcome everybody to this third session on HP Hybrid IT. Today's session will be about cloud service reporting. I will show the aspects or some aspects of what we have in our solution with regards to things like chargeback, showback, and billing. I will demo it as much as possible. Thanks, Martijn, for going on mute. There was some background noise there. I will show it as much as possible from our live system, which is hosted in our demo center in Grenoble. And I will touch upon a few points that we addressed last time. This session, with regards to the other sessions, will be a lot more open in a sense that I would want to open up for questions as much as possible. So the bottom part of this meeting will be all about returning your questions or trying to answer questions that you might have in the cloud space, and that could be related, of course, but that could be any kind of question. I dare to pick up the ball and try to answer every question as possible. With regards to questions, are recordings of previous sessions available? Yes, they are. I will make sure that Jean-Paul and Martijn will provide everybody with the right links. All right, let's go into a few slides that I do have. There you go. So what's on today's session? Today is all about cloud service monitoring, reporting, and billing from our cloud management solution. And the topics that I will address is how do you get an inside view on which services you as an end user are consuming. What's the status of the IT in general? So I will touch base upon reporting from 3 different angles. So end user perspective, IT admin perspective, and management perspective. How do I forecast towards the future? So based on the history, you can actually forecast your consumption. Third point I already addressed, how can I make sure that I close the loop in terms of billing? How do you make sure that whenever somebody charges you or public cloud charges your organization, that you can actually link that through to the right department, the right person? And how do you integrate this cloud service system with either an existing asset management system or HP asset management, of course. So let's go into a little bit of a summary of last sessions. Do want to give you this overview. I won't go into detail on this one. As mentioned last time, it's all about offering the right services with the right SLA and with the right timing to your end users, and your end users could be anyone actually that requires to consume a IT service that you're providing. So you really have to have this service-oriented view within your company, which means your end users will be interacting with you by selecting the right service in the service catalog, ordering it, getting approval for that if somebody from the business in the BUs needs to approve it or it needs a technical approval. And then once the service is ready to be consumed, he or she can actually view and operate that service. It's the idea of the Google Play Store. It's the idea of the App Store, where you just consume what you have, and when you use it, this is your access point. When you don't need it, you just get rid of it. So that's the end user view. We've seen it a couple of times. Underneath admin view, with underneath all these resources and all these various technologies that actually play within the data center, This is sort of represented as the spaghetti of the traditional environment that you have, or maybe you have already standardized it, but it represents various technologies, various service offerings that you need to put into the mix through your cloud orchestration platform. So the man in the middle is the service admin that actually needs to tie everything together to make these individual resources at the bottom into consumable resources or consumable services on the top. When this workload is a little bit too much, you have the need to automate it. That is represented through the APIs you see over here. And these APIs actually allow you to do an end-to-end provisioning process. So not only spin up the VM, but also making sure that the right storage is attached, that it appears in the right network, that you can engage with multiple technologies, and that you will also do some additional provisioning steps if need be. As you can see, today's world, if we look at the DevOps cycle or DevOps angle, developers, they kind of hate a GUI. They want to do everything command line or command line driven. So they want to query and they want to be able to consume services through a command line interface or an API REST call or REST API call. And that's also possible with this cloud orchestration platform. As long as you provide it with the right parameters, you can consume any service that is created or service designed over here. Then about the public cloud and the consumption of it, right now you see a strong desire from the end users directly wanting Azure and Amazon. It's often seen and expressed as the famous shadow IT. From a IT point of view, let's say from an IT, what's underneath the line, I would say yes, that's shadow IT. From a business point of view, it's just perceived as good practice because they actually are offered the right services with the right price they want to pay, and they can get it fast, not wait weeks, but wait a few hours and they have the service they need. So what IT needs to do is integrate these services or these service capabilities into the mix, into the cloud orchestration platform, and offer those through a unified portal. Because then you are in control of who's consuming what, when, and how. And that will be today's main topic. How do you make sure that everything that is consumed through your service catalog or on Amazon actually gets the right tags, and based on these tags can actually be billed back to the business unit who's actually ordering it. End of the picture is delivering the capability, delivering the technical capability or service to consume, delivering an infrastructure as a service or delivering a platform as a service that is hosted either public or private or a mixture of that. That's all nice, but you also need to adhere to your company standards. You need to make sure that you integrate it into the CMDBs of this world. You need to make sure that you integrate it with the right billing, the right monitoring, and everything surrounding that. So that's part of what we call the end-to-end provisioning view for hybrid IT, which means every single step that can be automated will be automated, and you will make sure that you have a complete cycle that takes into account every step that you need to take, from ordering until the email back to the end user stating, well, this is your service, here are your credentials, and this is how you can actually log on to this service. That's what we mean with hybrid IT. So let's go into the next step and the main topic of today. This is just a nice animation that showcases that you can actually deliver everything as a service, multi-tiered, and whether it's a traditional application or a cloud native application, your cloud orchestration platform allows you to integrate with the both. All right. So going into the complete demo reference architecture, this is more a technical view, or a product view is the better word, of what we have in the cloud space and what we have ready as demo scenarios. This is all the technologies we have in place, whereas today, I focused or the last sessions, I focused much on the portal perspective of our solution, together with the admin perspective. So how do you design these services and how do you orchestrate these services? So how do you interact with the various components? And that can be on the private cloud, that could be on the public cloud, that could be integration with your existing IT services, or your existing IT background. So yeah, anything you have there in terms of monitoring or backup or CMDB. So focus of today, as mentioned, now the picture in the background is very, very vague, so it kind of disappeared, but okay. Today I will be focusing on the monitoring side of it, and this will involve CSA, of course, but also ITBA, IT business analysis, more the business view, cloud optimizer, more the admin view on services to be consumed. I will touch base a little bit on Asset Manager, just to show it what it potentially can do, and Sitescope as a monitoring tool. Then I will show you how it integrates into the Helion OpenStack, the virtualization layer, and the OneViews. It gives a consolidated view on your data center and everything you have in there. So, abilities or capabilities, well, performance, capacity optimization, forecasting are already touch based on these points. So let's show it. It's demo time indeed. Before I go into that, let me check on the conversations. Let me check on the questions that might be around. Okay, I can see, Jean-Paul, you have already answered that. Right. Okay, so let's go to demo mode. All right, so for this is the same environment that I just showed you already, but now I've got these live links towards it. So let's first go into the dashboard. Again, I have been logged on as Niels, so the system will recognize me, and every service that I'm consuming is actually registered as Niels Consume Service, which is very important for the billing aspect. So let's see what I have as services. This is not good, but it allows me to show some reporting aspects of our solution. For some reason, the provisioning of a VM failed, so that's also interesting to see what actually has failed and to drill into that. But I will park that one for now. So these are the services that I, as an end user, am consuming right now. Let's just spin up another one, just to make sure that we have some services that I can actually report upon later on. Just go into all categories. Just order infrastructure as a service. Now let's do one on OpenStack. Okay, so right now, and I won't go into detail, I've done that in the previous sessions, but here I can actually select all the things that I want to tweak or tune or selectable or need as a selection to order the service or the server with the right prefix, with the right availability zones, with the flavor that I want to have installed on top of it. Could be small, tiny demo, could be anything. Could be, you can choose the image, so what OS system needs to be installed on top of it. Let's do Windows. Demo key pairs if I have him on my personal account, or I'll just use the default ones. I need to check for the security group. Volume name. Now, this and the gist of it is that you can actually have an end user select on all these options that you see over here, or you can mask the default ones, or you can actually make pre-selections for this end user. So you can extend it to the max like it's done over here, where I can literally choose every single option, or I can limit the amount of options that an end user can take, and we will just make pre-selections for that end user. So for now, I'll just go for the checkout. I believe all the defaults are okay. IBM submit, and it's now being provisioned. So let's spin up one more service on the public cloud, hybrid cloud services. Here you see a listing of services that we can actually spin up. So I could do it on Azure, I could do it on Amazon, but this one is a good example of how you can simplify ordering of services as well. For the ones that are familiar with ordering services on Amazon, if you order an EC2 server, you have to fill in a lot of details. Here you can only see one that says, okay, choose your instance, and it will be ordered. So if you want to make it very simple for your end users, no selection on VM, no selection on size, you can just go with this single click option, and then all the defaults will be used. My VM on AWS, and I'll just submit it, and that's being spun up as well. So let's see. Okay, I can see this one is in the deploy state, this is in a fail state, so as said, I will come back to that one. Very curious on what went wrong actually, so we need to find out what step went wrong, and more importantly, why it went wrong. So we'll go into that one later on. Let's go back to my main dashboard, because there you will see the first indication of what services am I consuming. Right now, I can see in what we call a widget, I can see the consumption of, and the size is a little bit big, so let me try to tweak it down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So right now, in what we call the widgets, I can see the amount of server, CPU, memory, and disk capacity that I'm consuming as an end user. Since the first service failed, I'm consuming nothing, so that will change over time when the right services will spin up. I can see which services I have been subscribed to, so here I can see a summary, and if you want, you can actually add the amount of the subscription amount that these services take on a monthly or daily basis. Depends on the frequency you're being billed, or you're being billed for it. But here you can see a summary from an end user point of view of the services and the amount of service cross charge that these services consumption actually take. So that's the first way of showing, let's say we call it the show back. If we take it further, we actually can see, and now I just need to check on the state of the service. Okay, the Amazon service is already online, so that's great, that works. This one is still being deployed on the private cloud, it's okay as well. So, all right. So, if I want to drill down into this error, I can do it from an end user point of view. I can see it has failed, and that's pretty much about it. I will get a notification that I can't reach the service, and I can do some I could do some checking to see what actually went wrong. Now it seems like the host name and everything has been spun up, but that's all the information that you as an end user will actually get, besides that it's failed. So what's more interesting is to view it from an admin point of view. So right now I'm wearing a different hat. I'm logged on as an IT admin to the console, and I can do some analysis of what actually went wrong on this particular service provisioning. I can do so by going into operations. So in terms of reporting, in terms of showback, in terms of admin tools to see what's going on, this is one of the entry points you will have as an admin to see what's going on, who's consuming what, when, and where. I'm within the aerospace. As I explained the last session, the system we have here is what we call multi-tenant. It means that you can have different customers if you are a service provider, or you can have different business units that are all served with a different service catalog where you can tweak and tune the service offerings within that service catalog. Now let's go into that funny guy that ordered this service. Here I am, and here I can see the services that have been recently been subscribed to Niels, or Niels has put a subscription to. I can see that this one has failed, so let's dive into it and let's see what actually happened. So I can open up the process that actually failed. It went wrong in the deployment, and here I can further drill down into the single step that caused the failure, and that's done by showing the OO flows, the operations orchestration flow. So it's really a drill down from here into operations orchestration, and here it sort of shows us a red flag which step actually went wrong, and it looks like this step, the list iterator, showed me the failure, or that's where it went wrong. And in the step details, there, it should show me why it was wrong. List has a null or the length of node. So it seems like the IP address, either the IP address update went wrong, so this is updating the subscription ID, and that's where it couldn't update the IP address into the subscription, and that's why the service as such failed. Alright, now that could happen, so this is something that somebody actually needs to dive into and find out. What else you can see over here is some other flows that are currently running. For example, this flow is being executed at the moment. You can see it. You can see in which state it is. So I can see I have a live view on what is going on into my organization, what is being provisioned at the moment. This view, and I won't go into too much detail, but it will show you which flows have been executed over a certain period of time. In this case, the last 7 days, which were the most popular flows that have been executed. And this is when you want to see the business view, because with automation you're replacing manual tasks. If you know how much time a manual task would take, and if you can actually clock the time it takes to do it in an automated, you have a delta, and that delta can be actually expressed into what we call ROI, or into money. So if you have the average time to execute compared to the original time it took to execute it, you can actually create ROI figures based on that. OO will allow you to sort of monitor every step that has been taken, so you can have the total time in there, and you can, based on that, you can make some calculations of how much money did we save, or what's the saving potential of automating certain steps. So it's a nice dashboard. It will show you the flows, and you can actually drill down into some flows, and you can see or tweak and find out why some errors occurred. Now this one might appear red. You could say, hey, this is bad setup, but I know this has to do with people filling in the demo and not using the right password sequence that Azure actually forces you to use. So that's the main reason why this failure on Azure is that high. It's not because of the automation as such. All right, let's go ahead. Let me go back to the admin console. Now what you see over here, as compared to the last time, we've upgraded our demo environment into CSA 4.6. So you see a new kind of interface here as an admin. Oh, and you can actually use some new features. Now I have to get used to some small features that I have a different location, but it's just recently updated. So let's go back to the main page. As explained, as an admin, you can actually go into operations and deal with subscriptions from each individual user from each individual organization. It will depend on your role that you have in the system and your login of what is shown to you here. So you can imagine that if you are an admin of a different organization, an organization called banking, once you log on as an admin of banking, this is all you will see. You won't have the overview of the other business units. So you can only deal and manage the stuff that you're entitled to do. I'm the super admin right now, so I can actually reach out to any service that is being consumed right now. Okay, so let's go back. I can see or I can hear a lot of questions going on. Let me see. I see a few questions appearing here. Niels, the ROI number, is there relation to CAPEX OPEX transition? Can we speak from OPEX or more OPEX spending within a private cloud? That's a good question, Jean-Paul. We get a lot of customers that actually want to consume also their cloud service platform as a service, or at least in a more OPEX way rather than a CAPEX way. And what we mean with that is that they don't want to spend a lot of investment into licenses or an investment into hardware or an investment into services to get this platform up and running, and then have to wait until the moment you start earning money or you start making money on the services you provide with it. We have different options in there. You can also set up CSA in a CAPEX mode, which means we offer it as a service, and you as a service provider, it works best with the service providers. But in the service provider, you can actually, when you start to make money, we start to make money as well, because you only pay when the services are up and running. Now, these are different licensing models. I would definitely advise you to contact your sales rep within HP to discuss the options on that one. So, operations. Now let's go into the cloud analytics. I will touch base on this one, and I will touch base on this one. Let's start with the cloud optimizer, where you can actually see all the services, no, all the data center. So this gives you the view on the data center and all the resources that are being used at the moment. So right now I'm logged on to Cloud Optimizer. For the ones that are familiar with HP software tooling, this is the module that used to be called VPV, Virtual Performance Viewer. It has been rebranded into HPE Cloud Optimizer, and it will give you an insight in every VM or compute capacity that you have, and that's being consumed at the moment. So right now this is a dashboard which will show you that we have 7 ESX hosts, that we have 166 VMs deployed based on 14 data stores. There are 3 major alerts which have a relation to the hosts, these 3 hosts, where it says high memory is detected, and I can see in which domain it is, so I can take actions on that. Let me go back to the dashboard, because it will give you the real-time view on all of this. So here you can see this dashboard, which we can tune to any way you would like it. I also get these pop-ups for data sources, which is nice, but not wanted right now. I can see it from a capacity point of view of what is the capacity, what is being used. You can also see my AWS resource being spun up over here, so this will give you a consolidated view on every data store that you're using in your cloud setup. So let's drill down a little bit deeper into that. I will use the nice. I will use the how do I get out of here? Let me go back. There is a way to get past this one. Allow and remember. Thank you. And there we go. Okay, so what's this? This is a tree map, and a tree map actually allows you to give you a quick overview of all the resources, in this case on this data center. So I will go one by one. What we're seeing right now is everything, every single server that has been provisioned in what we call the vSphere domain. So that's everything that has been spun up on using VMware in this case. You can see a tree map, which means everything that shows up as green is pretty okay. Everything with orange has some higher form of CPU usage. You can see that that filter is applied right now. So you have a quick overview of what's going on. You can view the entire domain. In this case, you can also change the domains. In this case, I could see, all right, I want to see what's going on in AWS. And here it will show me that right now I'm using 2 instances. Where is the one? Okay, there's one being spun up right here, and it will show me the health of this VM in this case. And this information is actually making use of the API integration of AWS. So AWS gives this monitoring information, and Cloud Optimizer sort of uses that and presents it in an overview. So I can do AWS, I can show it for the KVM domain that we have. Okay, there's nothing spun up or it's loading. There's no data in there. And I can show it for services that have been provided through CSA. Okay, there are 6 groups over here, and it's settled for group. All right. So let me go back to the vSphere environment from an admin point of view. That would be the most interesting because it has the most of the data. And here you can see this, and I can also kind of filter out the green ones to see the ones that are yellow, and yellow means that there's a higher CPU usage on these individual servers. You can see the names over there, and I can also do some utilization trends. I can either see it from here, or I can do some real-time guest OS drill down, which means it will give me the real performance data from a central console on this server right now. So right now it's showing me the graphs of CPU, memory, disk, and processes, and I can also change the interval settings that I want to have on that. Right now it's set for 5 seconds, or I can make it 1 second, or I can actually enlarge it and see a more trend analysis on this particular service. And I can see it either in a graph, or I can show it through this table view. So this allows you to do central monitoring on individual service or group services from a central console. So let's go out again. Let me click that one away. So what else is in there? So besides this tree mapping and individual drill down into service, I can also do some performance analysis. So you can see the alert. Those are the ones that we already saw. I can do some filtering. So filtering on, I want to see only that data which is relevant for me at the moment. So I can select the domain that I want to have this data on. Let's select vSphere. I can select the entity type, which granularity do I want. Well, let's select VM. I can select the metric. Okay, I want to see the CPU clock speed of every VM within the vSphere domain, and I can apply a rule to it if it's higher or lower than blah blah blah. Right, let's just show it all, and there it will show me only that point or that filter for every single entity that is part of this domain. So that's some filtering you can add, and you can save these filtering. Let's look into the capacity. So let's start from a capacity overview. Okay, so right now it's showing the capacity of all the domains, and it should also show you. Yes, it does. There you go. Let me click this one away. It should also show me the total amount of available capacity for these environments. So from a CPU, memory, and activity point of view, it will show me the VM activity. Now this is interesting, of course. If 82 of the total are sitting idle all the time, we might need to do something. Again, this is a demo setup, so this is for our demo environment itself. A lot of these machines are sitting idle. It will also show you which are powered off and which are active. That's okay, but from a CPU sizing, you can also see that this will show you oversizing. This means that 89 VMs out of the 126 are actually oversized in terms of CPU. So we need to do some optimization here, or we could do some optimization in order to save cost, or to free up more memory, or to free up more resources. And that's what you can actually do over here. So you either do it through the modeler, where you can add some, or you can do some forecasting. Let's start with the forecasting. So here, this will give a graph that gives you an insight or a forecast towards the future. Mind you that we started our analyze, or cloud optimize, or cloud analyze on the data center just very recently when we updated the environment. So this performance data is still being captured, and you see that we haven't used the demo environment as much as we did in the beginning, but this is because this data has been started to capture on the 28th of January, so it's very recently. So over time it will show a different forecast, but right now, as you can see in the green line, the forecasted usage of the data center is going down, which is well, depends on which view you take, but I'm expecting when we have more data in that it will show a line that will be either up or down, but much more in the middle. It also means, if we take it from a business point of view, this would mean that we could free up or use the free capacity in a different way, or we could advertise a little bit more that some services are more interesting. So you can do all kinds of trend analysis based on these forecasting numbers. So I see some questions arising in the chat box, so let me go through it. Does this also integrate with HPE Virtual Private Cloud? Yes, it does. For the ones that are not aware of Virtual Private Cloud, that's our HPE ES or HPE ES offering, Enterprise Services offering of a Virtual Private Cloud, which is allows you to consume any kind of service as a service. So you could do it by model. You can actually consume those VPC services directly from HP, or you could have a CSA within your own company that actually links into VPC or into Virtual Private Cloud. I can show a service example of that later on. What will we need to install in case we would like to use this for an account? Is there a multi-tenant environment where we can make use of it? Geert, can you explain it a little bit deeper, or a little bit deeper of what you mean with this account or the multi-tenancy aspect? Geert? Sounds like Geert, can you come back to your question? Otherwise, I will just park it for now.
Sorry, which question you have it?
Yeah, what will we need to install in case we would like to use it for an account?
Well, if we have an account that will like to use this catalog and management tools and automation tools behind it, is there a shared model where you can say we define the account, we define the catalog, and we can use it? Or do we have to install some material, buy some software, and configure it ourselves in a dedicated environment?
That is for HP internal use or for customer use?
It's both actually. HP internal, the catalog is for the customer, and it's also possible that we define a certain portal for the customer themselves, so they can use it to populate servers and.
Yeah, so both options are possible. This demo setup is to be used internally by HP by anyone that actually wants to use it. In a customer relationship, we can actually install it on site at a customer, of course, to be used within that environment and making use of all these services, or it can be consumed as a service. But I can touch base on that with you offline, Geert.
Thank you.
All right. And I see one question from Jean-Paul. Is Cloud Optimizer linked to OneView or just the functionality of CSA? Yes, it is linked to OneView. So if you have OneView installed, I can also see what is being used within the OneView space. So I will touch on that later on. Okay, so from a capacity point of view, you will see some forecasting. You can make some predictions, and you can see the disk or the calculation of when will you run out of capacity. That as such is interesting, but if I go into the modeler, it will give you a much more insight into, all right, I will do some forecasting. So let's say there's a big project coming on where I need 10 VMs for. The average size of these VMs will be 4 CPU, 8 RAM, and I assume that the disk capacity that will be installed on each will be not 200 but 20 but 200. I will need it by, let's say, starting tomorrow. The end date will not be set, and this is what we will have. So Let's add the action, and let's see if we run this scenario, can we actually host that? Can we have this additional demand in? So these 10 VMs can be added with these credentials, can be added because there's no shortfall on either CPU, memory, or storage to be expected. So that's good. So now let's do another 10 that will come in next month because there's another big project being started up. So let's add the action. So now I have 2 actions, and let's run that scenario as well. And when I do that, I can see that if I want to run both of them, I will see a shortfall in CPU, memory, and storage. This one already from storage, already from tomorrow. From CPU and memory, it takes a few days to do it. So either I can already sketch the scenario that I need to take some action. So either I will amend and add more storage to it, or I will just bring down a few services that are running idle. So I will form or have to proactively inform the end users that whether they need that capacity, or I'll just add more storage to it, and the same with CPU and memory whenever it's needed. So this will allow you to do some real forecasting, some very real modeling to see when your resources will actually will dry out. In this case, I was actually looking only in the space of vCenter, where I looked at all the capacity being available there. As you can see, I have a shortfall. I can also do the find capacity and see if there are other data stores available to me where I could place this this amount of CPU and memory for the future need. And it actually has found a data store where I could place this amount of capacity on. So this physical machine has been advertised as, okay, it has the right amount of CPU and memory available to you. So the moment you start installing it or you add it to the vCenter domain, it will have the capacity you need given the amount you need it. So that's for modeling. You can also do it for placement. So here I would say I need 10 VMs with this amount, add VMs, and then find the placement. And here you can actually put in some logic of what would be the best placement for a certain set of VMs. Now, that's not good, but it's probably based on the fact that I've already over-provisioned it or over-modeled it. Okay. Then the last part, this is the resource metering. And here you can have an active view on what is being used right now versus what is the advice of HP, or what would be optimized based on the history data of that VM, and then we added a price. So what we did here is we sort of calculated the base price for CPU per day, for memory use per day, and for disk per gigabyte per day. Then based on the current consumption of CPU, memory, and disk, it sort of gives a price per day or days from this measurement period. It will give a total price of what are the costs for that, and then it takes it into account the optimum configuration of all the CPUs, memories, and disk sizing based on actual usage and what would be recommended. And if you would have optimized your CPU, memory, and disk to that, this would show you the potential saving on those services. So you can tweak and tune the period that you want to do the calculation on, and you can also bring up the details of it, which will show you that, for example, this server that I spun up, I initially started it with 2 CPUs, but since it's idle all the time, it could go with 1 CPU. So that would be the recommendation of the system. Okay, so that's what you could do with Cloud Optimizer. Let me check for the questions again. Could you show us how the public cloud usage monitoring looks like? Yes, I can. Let me go into the overview, which will show it for all domains. Let me check on where's my link to Amazon to show it for the public domain only. Yeah. Let's go back to the dashboard. And now where's my Amazon view? Where is it again? No, I had it somewhere. It did show me the overview of the AWS capacity. Oh, yeah, it was from the tree map that I showed the different data stores. If we want to talk money, if we want to see what is being consumed, will show you what is being consumed. In this case, on Amazon, it will also, when we talk about how much money is involved in that, we better go to the business, the ITBA side of it. To answer the question on OneView, this is actually a live link into OneView, which will show you all the servers being provisioned within the rack that OneView is actually hosting. As you can see, not a lot has been provisioned. This is showing all the physical servers in that rack, but no physical server has been provisioned and added into this domain yet. That's one of the use cases as well. So let me go back to the overview. This is IT Optimizer, again a admin kind of tool. This is Cloud Analyzer, which will give you much more of a business point of view or a more overview point of view with KPIs. So let me go into it, and it will open up a dashboard. And within this dashboard, which is showing the live data, you have all the options to tweak and tune it to your own liking. So you can sort it by, in this case, by KPI view, or there are some predefined KPIs in there. You can see the number of subscriptions, you can change it, you can see subscription lifespan per organization, so which business unit or customer is consuming the most services. You can drill down on these services, the number of services being consumed per organization, total revenue of the services. So if you are a service provider, you have calculated let's say the revenue you want to make on these services. So that will give you the overview, and you can do any kind of, let's say, drill down or change the graph or the graph form. This is a chart pie. I can change it into this one, and it will show you some different facts and figures in a different way. So this is really for anyone that is interested in reporting or overviews, and with drill down options, you can go into as much as detail if you would like. You can also launch it from the IT Business Analytics, sorry. And here you will even have more options. This is the standard view that you saw already. This is, let's see, this is a different view. So within here you have all the data at your disposal, and you can actually tweak and tune and create your own reporting, or you can actually create your own reporting from how much services are being consumed at Amazon and who will actually receive the cross charge for that. I can see I'm running a little bit out of time in terms of the time we have left, so I would like to take the opportunity to go back to the overview in here and then open up for a few questions. So to summarize, what have we seen, where have we drilled down into? Not so much the consumption part. I've shown the portal, I've shown the app in console from where you would actually go into the different reporting aspects. I've shown Cloud Optimizer to the max. So how do you do capacity management? How do you manage multiple resources? A little bit of ITBA, not so much of Asset Manager, but the Asset Manager is a tool or a solution setup that you should actually use to do consolidated billing. I'm assuming that you already have an asset management system or a CMDB, and that you can actually have some prices or some internal prices being used for cross-charging. If you have that already, you can actually link up this cloud consumption portal or cloud consumption database to your asset manager and have that consolidated view. With that, I would like to end my part of it, and I would like to open up for questions if there are still some questions left. No questions? Okay, if there are no questions, I would like to give you back 1 minute of our very precious time. I would like to thank you for the attention, and I hope to see you soon within either physically or virtually. And I would like to thank Martijn and Jean-Paul for giving this opportunity. Martijn and Jean-Paul will be the main contact persons for any questions related to that or anything related to the HP Cloud portfolio that you would like to learn about.
Okay. Thank you, Niels, for your time, for the great webinars. This was a very good session. Too bad that there wasn't a little bit more time left. We will look forward to the recording, and we will send it out to the participants.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.